Hello everyone, this is lesson 10.4, stem and leaf plots and histograms. Today you're going to learn how to create a stem and leaf plot in a histogram and how to use it to analyze data. So first of all, a stem and leaf plot is, instead of giving you a definition, I'm just going to give you an example here actually. So a stem and leaf plot is just a way that you can organize a set of data, and the idea is that you make it like a T-chart like this. And then you put the stems on this side and then the leaves on this side. So what do I mean by stem and leaf? Well, I'm going to look at my smallest number, and this says that the number of home runs hit by 20 baseball players with this best single season batting average are listed below. Make a stem and leaf plot. So these are 20 numbers, and we're going to pick the smallest number. So where's the smallest number? I think it's 3. So we've got 3, 4, 7, 7, 8, and 8. So those are all numbers that are between 0 and 9. So we're going to put those in the first one. So you put the tens place in this column and then the ones place in this column. So if our number is 3, then the tens place is 0. And then we would put the 3 over here. Okay, so our next number would be 4. So I would put the 4 next because it has a stem of 0 and a leaf of 4. And then we've got 7, 7, 8, and 8. You don't need commas between them. You just list them out like that. I'm going to cross off the numbers that I already used. Okay, so next we're going to do the tens. So anything that goes from 10 to 19. So the stem in this case is 1, and then the leaves are whatever numbers we have. So the next smallest number is going to be 12. So the stem is 1 and the leaf is 2. So I'll put the 2 here in this column. And then, did I do the 4? I did the 4 already, so I'll cross that off. Next, we have 2 14s. I'm going to put 4 and 4, represents 14 and 14. And then also next we have 18. I'll put an 8 for the leaf. And then I have a 19. I have 2 19s, so I'll put 2 9s. All right, next we'll do 20 to 29. So the stem is 2 for 20. And then we've got 21, so that would have a leaf of 1. We've got 23, so that would have a leaf of 3. We've got 25, so that would have a leaf of 5. And that's it for 20s. Next would be 30s. So the stem is 3, and then the leaves are 2 for 32, and then 37 and 39, so 7 and 9. So hope after this you're getting the hang of this. And then next would be the 40s. So we would put 41 and 42. Also, let's say that you didn't have any 30s. You would still put the 3 here, but then you just don't put anything here. Don't put a 0 because then that would mean 30. So if you don't have any 30s, you still put the 3, but don't put anything after that on the leaves. That just means there's no 30s. Okay, and I think that was it. That we had the answer for that question. All right, it says the years in which the first. Oh, also one of the things that is good to do is to make a key. So for here, our key would be like 4/1 is equal to 41. Because there's one example in the Edulastic where, for example, the key is 4-1 is equal to 4.1. So be careful, that one is a little bit tricky. Okay, so for the first 20 states were admitted to the Union are listed below. Make a stem and leaf plot of the years. All right, so we'll make our chart. And then the first thing will be like 1770, and then we'll put the last digit here. So we have to kind of look at where the smallest number is. 1787. Is there anything smaller than 1787? Or 1780s? I think we start with 1780. So we'll do 1780, and then 1790, and then 1800, and then 1810. And we'll see if we need anything else after that. But for 1780, we've got 7, 7, and then I'm looking for other 1787s. I don't see them, so we've just got, I think there's one, supposed to be one more. Here it is, 1787. And then for the 1788s, we've got 1, 2, 3, so 888, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 more 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 1790, actually, let's see if we have any 1789s. We have the 9, and then I think that's it. Okay, so for 1790, I do this in a different color maybe. We've got 1792. Oh, but I don't think that's the first one, so we have to write it in order. You have 1790, so we have to put a 0 first for 1790. And then you have 1791, and then we'll do the 1792. And then 1796. That's all for that one. How about 1800? We have 1803, and that's it. And then for the 1810s, we've got 12, 16, 17. So 12, 16, 17. So you could also find the mean, median, and mode of all of this, given that you know that there's 20, so you would count where the 10th and 11th one were for the median. So we'll do examples of that later, I think. Or actually, you know what, let me just show you now. So there's another thing that I wanted to show you, since we didn't do a whole lesson on this, is using the Desmos graphing calculator to find mean, median, and mode. So we talked about this in class for a little bit, but for those of you who aren't in class, so when you are doing these assignments, if you click on the calculator button, it'll open up the Desmos calculator window. And one of the things that Desmos graphing calculator does is it lets you find the mean, median, and mode. So actually just the mean and median. So we could type in mean, parentheses, and then type in all of your data, close parentheses. So let's say our data is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it tells you what the mean is. And then if you want to find the median, you could just delete, you don't need to delete all the numbers, just type median, and then it'll tell you what the median is. So that's another something that you can do to save you some time when you're finding mean, median, and mode in the Edge-Elastics. All right. Okay, so part 2 with histograms. So histograms are using frequencies to set up a bar graph. It's kind of like a bar graph, but you're using frequencies and then the categories. So frequency of an interval is just the number of data values in that interval. So the number of data values in that interval. A frequency table is groups data values into equal intervals and that part is important. Your intervals have to be equal or in order to set up your histogram. If they're not, that means that the histogram was not set up correctly. So that might be like a trick question and like a multiple choice answer. And then with no gaps or overlaps. With no gaps or overlaps. So there was a question on when, like the 2018 AIR item release questions that had you make a histogram. So that's an example of what we're talking about. I was pretty lenient with that one because we didn't talk about that concept yet, but you shouldn't have any overlaps in your histogram. And then, so a histogram is a bar graph that displays data from a frequency table. So Each bar graph represents an interval, and then bars have equal width because the intervals have equal sizes. The bar's height indicate its frequency, and then there are no spaces between the bars. And so that's what I was talking about earlier. Okay, so here's an example. The number of song requests per day for a 2-week period at a radio station are shown below. Make a histogram of the data. So we've got our intervals are 10 to 19, 20 to 29, and 30 to 39. So I'm going to do 10 to 19 and then count off all the ones that are 10 to 19. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means for my histogram, I'm going to do rectangle that goes up to 6, like that. All right, now let's do 20 to 29. What's the frequency between 20 and 29? Frequency just means how many there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So take a rectangle and set it up to have a height of 5. Okay, and then also the widths are supposed to be the same, so that's close enough. And then 30 to 39, we've got 1, 2, 3. So my histogram for that interval will have a frequency or a height of 3. Okay, so that's what your histogram would look like. All right, and then it says we've got prices of meal options at Bob's Burgers. Which histogram correctly displays the information above? So one of the things you can do is first look through and rule out which one is not set up correctly. So your frequency should be on the y-axis, and then the categories or the intervals should be on the x-axis. So are there any that aren't like that? I don't think so. So let's look to see if there are any that are maybe have unequal intervals. So this is 0 to 5, 5 to 10. Okay, so the problem with A is that there's overlap. You shouldn't have overlap. If this is 0 to 5, then this should be 6 to 10, and this should be 11 to 15, and this should be 16 to 20. So we know that this A can't be correct. Oops. How about, let's see, 6 to 7, 8 to 9. Okay, so the problem with C is that you have a gap here. So you can't have a gap. So if there's nothing in between there, then you need to have some space. And I know this and there's no spaces, but if you don't have anything in the interval, then you would leave it blank, but it should still be there. So you shouldn't have any gaps in the intervals. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so how about this one? 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, 15 to 19. I don't see anything wrong with that one. Let's take a look at D, though. 0 to 6, 7 to 9. Okay, so these ones, the intervals aren't equal because this goes 6 to 7, but this only goes 7 to 9. So that's a smaller interval. So that is unequal intervals. So the answer would be B. So do you have to actually, count up these and make your own histogram? A lot of times you don't. You just need to look at which one is set up correctly or which one has errors in it. All right, so that is the end of this lesson. Hope you enjoyed it and have a great day.